Are you serious? Are you serious? The banking crisis situation, the instability of world markets, especially in the European Union, is starting to bring some people to their knees. And as we go into this second quarter, and I'm telling you, in a year that's very volatile, with so much political turbulence going on right now, this is dangerous. Let me just tell you what's happened. Greece is demanding that the International Monetary Fund, which is managed by the United Nations, that it explains this disaster remarks in an explosive leak. Well, the leaked remarks of the International Monetary Fund officials suggesting the lender may threaten to pull out of Greece's bailout are creating a ton of anger in Athens. And, folks, seriously, it could jeopardize the debt negotiations that Greece is in. The Huffington Post exclusively obtained a private letter on Saturday from Greek Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras to the International Monetary Fund Managing Director Christine Lagarde. Now, demanding answers for some of the controversial comments in the March 19 teleconference between the Paul Thorenson, the International Monetary Fund European Director, and here's what: WikiLeaks released a transcript of the phone conversation earlier yesterday in which Thorenson indicates that only a new crisis would prompt both Greece and Germany to fulfill their obligations under the bailout. This raises concerns, folks, that while more time may be needed to push the parties toward an agreement, postponing a meeting could be a disaster. All right? Now, Alexis Tsipras wants to know whether Thorenson, apparent belief that the IMF must rely on another crisis-inducing credit event to force Greece's hand, reflects the official IMF view. If so, Tsipras challenges the International Monetary Fund to defend the policy given accepted norms of negotiation. Using a credit event as a means to pressurize Greece and other member states is clearly beyond the bounds of negotiation process as we understand it. So in other words, what their plan was to do was to create a credit crisis, which would then would jeopardize Greece's position in its negotiation. It would make Greece look more and more vulnerable all the time toward the creditors, which ultimately would keep inching up the interest rates. Right now, I can tell you, Greece borrowed a ton of money from the International Monetary Fund and others, especially the European banks, to stay afloat with high interest. And with the taxation and the austerity cuts that they'll have to do to their public, there's no way they will ever get out from underneath the debt. It would take literally 51 years at extreme high interest they would have to pay and austerity measures enforced upon the people, like retirement age going to 72. I mean, are you serious? These are people... The austerity, the slashing, there would be no food stamp program. The Social Security program they call there, which has a different name, would have to be cut in half. I mean, it's unbelievable. Okay, what I'm trying to tell you. It's a burden that they can't bear. It's a taxation so high and an interest rate that they have to pay to these other bankers that they can't bear. 51 years, they can't bear it. Greece would just literally can't survive it. So what Greece is trying to do is walk away from the debt they have with the European Union, and they're looking for somebody else that would catch them and take them on and help fund their capital, give them capital to start over again without high interest rates. They're looking to wipe away all the debt. They're wanting to do what a bankruptcy move is really what they're trying to do. But the European Union doesn't want to let them get off the hook. They want to continue to say, look, you owe us a ton of money. You've got to pay us high interest. That's the only way we can get these creditors to do it. So if the International Monetary Fund creates another banking crisis or a credit crunch, it only raises the interest rates and more pressure it puts on Greece than what it's already under. Folks, this is getting dangerous, and this is why you're going to hear the rumbling of a new world order. You're going to hear of a one world currency, a one world government with a one world system. They're going to want to wipe the slates clean and start over. And America will probably go along with it. Here's why. We're 20 trillion. And by the time the 45th president of the United States puts his hand on a Bible, hopefully it'll still be a Bible, we'll be 21 trillion in debt. And our Congress has no idea how to change the budgetary movement to where that, some of this excessive, incredible spending could be cut down, and revenues could actually be cut. Taxes could be cut as long as you cut out all the excessive, absolutely insane spending. And that's what you would call a revolution. And that's exactly what Donald Trump is proposing to do, to change the entire IRS system. He's not the only one. Ted Cruz has the same ideal. Cruz wants to do it in a flat tax. Trump wants to do it just by slashing craziness, like how much money we give to foreign nations and yet also supply our military to protect them. How many billions, trillions do we give the United Nations? Trump wants to cut all that stuff out and reinvest in the country by slashing out all that excessive amounts of money going abroad and containing it inside. We could cut down our debt over probably a 10 to 20 year period. We could probably get back solvent again. So without crunching the American people from their entitlement programs that we're used to. Okay, so but that makes a lot of fat cats no longer turns them lean real quick. All right, and so this is getting crazy. What's going on? The world is headed toward the new world order. We're headed toward the beast that's about to rise. There's many different areas all working at once. Go read the Georgia Guidestones. Go look at Agenda 21. Go look at Agenda 2030. That's currently what's the mandate at the UN, what they call the global sustainability. Notice how the power brokers are all working toward the same goal, a new world order, which would eliminate Jesus Christ. It is an antichrist beast that will rise in the last days. And it's coming. We're on the brink of it. We're on the edge of eternity. We're at the brink of the beast. We're at the apocalyptic hour. Something biblical is going on with the signs of the second coming of Christ. Have you given your life to Jesus Christ? Because I'm telling you right now, testing times are just ahead. Are you saved? Don't miss tonight's Sunday Night Live broadcast. Starts at 7 p.m. Eastern. We're going to touch on these things. We've got a lot to cover. Wow! Are you serious?